So hi everybody, welcome back to another reading with me, Angela. So you're very welcome here. I've got all my cards laid out, I've done a little bit of saging. I'm just going to use a little bit of holy wood now, just for a bit of grounding, and we're going to get started. I'm going to do a reading around these energies of the new moon in Gemini, which hit today at 11:30 GMT timing. So I'll cover those first, and then I'll go through some dates in June with you. And I'm just going to ask Spirit what the energies are that are coming through around June. So I do feel at the moment that I do feel like things are going to really start to move, action. Things are going to get action orientated this month. But I also, because we're coming out of this Mercury Retrograde period, which ends on the 3rd of June. But there's also a few days up to a week after that Mercury has to speed back up again to the speed it was at before it went retrograde. So it doesn't happen overnight. It's not going to be like a quick hit the ground running. But what I will say is this morning when I got up, I just felt a shift in the energy massively. And that's due to the fact that Jupiter and Mars. So Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's the giver of gifts. It's benefic. That is in Aries, and Mars, which is the planet of action, passion, fire, sex. It's like, going for it. I don't even actually would say that Mars is predominantly real sex. I would say that it's more to do with getting the job done. It's more to do with fast-paced movement. And actually, Mars rules Aries, so it's really in its natural home there. So the two together is like, if you think Jupiter expands anything it touches. So there's like this expansive Aryan energy at the moment, even though we're actually in the sun sign of Gemini at the moment. So, let's get a little bit of this grounding energy. So there's a little bit of background noise here where I live, and unfortunately I can't do anything about that. It's whenever I start to set up my reading table, or I'm going to read for a client, or there's always like somebody that decides to get the power tools outside. I don't know what it is. Where I live, I think it's almost like they just sense it or something. So there's a bit of banging. I don't know what it is, what the neighbours are doing, but nobody told me about it. But I'm very clairaudient, so I get quite sensitive to noise. So it's why if I ever live in a building, I try to live in the top floor, or I need to be in a peaceful setting, because it's just, I'm very, very noise sensitive. Anyway, right. So getting back to this new moon in Gemini. So we had a massive full moon eclipse in Scorpio last month. In May, which was about 2 weeks ago. So every 2 weeks we get a full moon, and then we get a new moon. We get a full moon and we get a new moon, and it moves into each sign. So this was a total eclipse in Scorpio. So it's very, very powerful, and we're going to be feeling the effects of this Scorpio eclipse for the next 6 months, right until we go to the Taurus full moon in November. Or is it Taurus new moon? I can't remember. I'll do a video on that nearer the time, because it's the opposite sign. So it takes 6 months to reach the opposite sign, and it's literally like whatever we're going to be almost upgrading or tuning our energies to over this next 6 months, it will have a knock-on effect up until November this year. So this new moon, this is the general meaning of what Gemini rules. So it's third house in astrology. It's ruled by Mercury, which is the planet of communication, transportation, short trips, interactions, siblings. That's the house, the third house, what it means. So all that area is linked to Gemini, and we're in Gemini season. And the sun is in Gemini, and we're just going through as well at the moment a Mercury retrograde in Gemini, and it's currently in Taurus. So it's gone all the way back through the sign of Gemini into Taurus. So let's just stay at the moment with the energies of this Gemini new moon. So these are the areas, if you want to manifest or you want to welcome these in, it's doubly powerful to work with the areas of life that are within that sign because it's more powerful. Again, if you've got placements or you've got signs in the third house, so you've got planets in the third house in your chart, communication will be a really important part of your journey in this lifetime. But also these will all be being activated together with anything you've got in Gemini at the moment. So Aries Gemini rules motion, activity, learning, communication skills, which is writing, speaking and effective listening, teaching, factual information, formal education, short trips, the internet, transportation. It's social ease, it's logic, it's the positive interactions that we have on a daily basis, it's calming mental anxiety, it's curiosity, mental rapport and understanding different opinions. I mean, that's so important in today's world because social media as a whole has kind of degenerated, disintegrated people's ability to do that. There's always someone around the corner who's going to be offended by somebody else's opinion, when actually if we don't have those unhealed issues, we won't really get affected by a difference of opinion because we know that's right for that person, that's right for us. So there's a bit of an upgrade coming around that. And even sometimes it can be just having an awareness of different opinions. It's ingenuity, it's variety, it's tact, acceptance, it's quick thinkingness, it's being witty, enjoying the moments, again, siblings, roommates, neighbours and schoolmates. And the areas that Gemini rules are the hands, wrists, shoulders, the lungs, breathing and the nervous system. Now Aries, the shadow aspects of Gemini can be being very superficial and surface level. Sometimes it's necessary, but this is more like being superficial, being fake, indecision, excessive questioning, trickery with the use of words. So you'll find that somebody can be quick-wittedness, they can have that ability and they can be really a fast thinker from the head to the mouth. But if somebody's willing to manipulate that in order to twist the conversation to outsmart somebody, that's manipulation. So again, these are areas that we can heal around Gemini. So that's the new moon energies, guys. So moving on now, retrograde periods. So we've just had this, Mercury went retrograde in the sign of Gemini towards the end of the second week in May. It's gone all the way back now into Taurus. So we've gone from basically the head into the body more. So retrograde periods it's about a shift of our desires and our priorities. So we're being guided to concentrate our energies internally. So it's intentionally gathering our energy and our life force, and then after this period we integrate it, we consolidate it so it's ready for the next cycle of expansion that we can see externally in our life. So if we think about this, so at the moment with Mercury in Gemini, so it's in its natural home. It's ruled by, so it's like saying Venus in Taurus or Venus in Libra. It's ruled by that planet, that sign. So it feels like it's at home. So it's very powerful. So Gemini being an air sign, it's to do with the mental faculties. It's to do with our thinking processes. It's about an upgrade in our ideas and our, if you think, ingenuity and variety and our beliefs, our learning, our logics, all to do with the brain, our ideas. So there could have been a lot of ideas going around in your head during this Mercury retrograde cycle that have come up. So things have come back up into your mental sphere for you to think about all these different ideas, but yet you're not sure on any of them. And it's almost like we've gone all the way back into Taurus, so we're dropping all these ideas into our physicality, into our body, to feel into them. So we're not letting them get stuck in our head where we think, and get scattered. Because what can happen is, with intuition, the heart never lies, but the head will always do it. So that excessive questioning that we can get when we're not sure, when we're sure of something, when we trust it, when we trust spirit, our body will give us the answers. So it's a bit like, this is what this retrograde cycle has been about for a lot of people, is that it's not necessarily been about acting on things. It's been about being shown, oh, I've got all these ideas, there's so many. And this can be in anything. This can be in love, it can be in relationships, it can be in where do I want to live, it can be whatever area of your life that has been sparked up during this retrograde cycle. Or maybe nothing at all. Maybe it's just clearing all of that out of your head. But again, this is about, we're preparing for this expansion externally, and we've just gone through a massive full moon eclipse in Scorpio, which happened in the middle of May. So that sparked up a load of stuff for clearing. Scorpio is deep, deep transformation. So if you think about this, it's just something to think about. Where are your shifts and desires and your priorities changing? So usually at the midpoint cycle with the retrograde, we get a bit of an idea and we get a bit of clarity, and we're like, well, actually, I'm glad I didn't move on that. It would have been a waste of my energy. It would have been, my head was going, do this, do that, but it could have scattered your energies around. But it's mostly now we're in this Taurus, Mercury and Taurus energy, where we're thinking, right, what feels good to me in my body, what feels right in my gut, and I'm going to act on that when this cycle moves out. So dates around the Mercury retrograde, so it ends on the 3rd of June, but that doesn't mean like you have like remnants of it. So Mercury still needs time to speed back up to the rate that it was at before it went retrograde. So it takes another week or so to get up to speed. So you've got that on the 3rd of June. And then currently at the moment, we've got Jupiter, the planet of expansion and luck, and Mars, very action orientated, fiery planet, is also in Aries, and they're conjunct. This has been happening over the last couple of days. So maybe you felt a little bit of get up and go. You felt like you're starting to get a bit more revved up. So Aries for me is very visceral, which is brilliant. Sometimes we really need that energy to just get crap done, and Aries is the sign to do it in. And Mars is Aries ruler, so it's actually at home in Mars. So if something needs to get done now moving forward with this conjunction, it's being expanded as it's together with Jupiter, which is amazing. So again, we're getting this help from these energies. I mean, look, if we just ignore them and we just look at them, or we can tune into them and we can feel into them and really tap into, well, where does this apply to me on my soul path right now? So the Mercury will return back into Gemini around the 13th of June. So what I would say around this, and this is just my guidance from years of just tuning into energies, is that's going to be really when things will start to shift and move forward. So around the 13th, you want to put anything into action, that's going to be the time from onwards. It doesn't mean that you just sit there and just wait for a day. You don't. There's loads of other things you can be strategizing and planning and putting into place. But it's almost like 13th of June onwards is when we're going to be saying yes to things, when we're going to be seeing physical offers or physical shifts, which will feel much more visceral to us, like physical. Now on the 4th of June, just to put a spanner in the works, Saturn goes retrograde, and it's in the sign of Aquarius at the moment. That's going to be for a good few months. And also the 11th of June, we've got Venus, planet of love and relationships and how we relate, and Uranus, always like the trickster planet. Uranus is like the great awakener. They're conjunct together in Taurus. So again, these are just dates to be aware of. They might help you, they might not. You might be getting something that might spark up for you. You just take what resonates for you. And then on the 14th of June, we've got a full moon in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is actually the sign of the spiritual teacher. It's actually the philosopher. So I've never met a Saggy who hasn't had some kind of next level understanding of spirituality, even though they might not look like they have it on the earth plane. I just find them very, very naturally attuned, very naturally psychic. So this full moon will be asking us to integrate our earthly life and our spiritual life together. So it's asking us to have that both are, they're actually one, and to stop seeing them as separate entities, because they're not. And then on the 23rd of June, so all month, we've got Venus in Taurus, which is actually a lovely, lovely vibe. This is like love and commitment. It's in its natural home. So, you know, there might be a propensity to want to just go out and eat lovely food and, you know, indulge, and, you know, as a way to balance everything out, all these shifts and changes. So the energy will shift again towards the end of June on the 23rd, when Venus will enter Gemini, which isn't really a natural placement for Venus. It's more like it's in the head. It's more like in love, communication will become much more important. It won't necessarily be like the sensuality of love. It will actually be the talking to your loved ones. I mean, I don't ever have a problem with that, guys. I don't know if you notice, but it's going to be communication is going to be key in your relationships. Even you might find you might want to reach out to people towards the end of the month. Right, so those are all the dates for June that I am aware of, that Spirit have made me aware of to share with you. So now let's get down to the nitty gritty. And I'm going to ask Spirit, well, Carly is calling, so the Carly cards. So when Carly calls, I have to listen. So let's get a bit more central here with the cards. So what's the message from Carly? So they're saying that they want to talk about June. They want to talk about June. So the energies for June, Carly. No, she's saying leave the cards. Okay. Energies for June, please. This is a collective reading for all of us. Collective reading for all of us. Okay. It's interesting, actually, because I love how Carly works. I've never worked with a goddess who works like Carly works. She's something else. So we've got two cards here, two messages from her. So the first thing we've got is Kali Mahamaya. My pronunciation of Sanskrit isn't great, so my apologies. Kaladara. So these are the two messages. So actually, this is the picture that's on the cover of the Alana Fairchild Carly journal, which I happen to have. It's actually on the table here. Okay, right. So I'm just going to look at these cards first of all. So actually, I'm seeing two camps here with the cards. The feeling I'm getting is there's two different camps, right? So I don't know if you can notice this in the cards, but so for this card here, it looks like she's kind of in the shadow. She's in the cave, and then can you see like her, it looks like antlers or horns that are coming out the back of her head, but it's actually not. What it is I think it's actually a planet, because the planets are in the background. So what I feel is this is the group of people in June that are going to be, what I want to say is they're not afraid to go into the cave and to take their time to integrate exactly what Spirit was saying at the start, which is about what retrograde periods are all about. And there's going to be a lot of people coming out and going to be more visible about who they are and what they do during June. So there's going to be an uncovering for some people in their lives where they're stepping up to the plate for themselves. And I'm not feeling scared about this. I'm not feeling nervous. I'm feeling a bit of intrepidation when I feel into it. But I just feel it's time now for some people to be more visible out there in the world. So it might mean having a website for what you do. It might mean I'm really guided around the blue and the blueness of this card, but there's also like a spiritual lineage linked to this card with the royal purple blue. And what Carly is saying is it's now like you're ready, like, you know, put the books down, put the videos down, stop listening to everybody outside of yourself and share what you know you've got to share. Now it's time. So, she's saying it's not going to be an overnight success. It's going to be a slow progression with this card. Be interested to know what it says in the guidebook, but that's what I'm getting from the card. But what she's saying is it's almost like you've been hiding for a while. Now, I did do a message. I will put a link to my private Facebook group. It's a small group that we've got. It's all private. I just put up free stuff in there all the time, as I feel it's like what I can put out with spirit, like what they generate for me to put out on a regular basis. It's a sacred space, because what we all need, whether you are a healer, a light worker, an artist, a creator, a maker, whatever you want to call it, whatever makes sense to you, what resonates with you, we need a sacred container to put what we create out there into the universe. Now, I do it a lot with my voice. You might be somebody that does it with your hands. Gemini, we're in the season of hands. So it could be time now to create that which you have been wanting to create for some time. And they just keep showing me this, like almost like a pair of horns here, but not in like the negative way that horns are viewed, like, when we think about certain whatever. This is about like a radar. So that she's just saying to me, it's like you kind of know what to do to face your true north now. It's time to do it. So like the third eye and the throat chakra, and I know this is nearer towards the heart, but she's saying to me, this is, it's all dropped down now. The information, it's come down from spirit. It's time to share it. So that's that group becoming more visible. Now, this is another group that are going into a reflective period. So the answers that you seek, so the blessings and the desires and the creations that you want to receive. So can you see there's lots of this sunshine, there's lots of this golden light. And what the light is actually guiding you to do is to go into the deep, still waters of your soul and your heart, and actually to go into reflection. So what I would say is this, can you see, like she's unburdened, she's derobed. Carly is not wearing anything. She's only got her light of her third eye to guide her, but that's all that she needs. And what's interesting is the lotus flower is in the water. So there's information to be gathered, and you can only get this from inside yourself, not a guru. So Carly is saying she's not a fan of gurus, because we all have an internal guru, she's saying. So I'm just going to quickly look at this. These are cards 3 and 4. So Kaladara, she's not bound by appearances, opinions, or material limitations. She's both the void and the infinite creative potential that arises from it. Do not be afraid of uncertainty. If you feel you are without resources, take comfort now. Where there is lack, she restores abundance. She can bring forth exquisite blessing and glorious manifestation from the sacred expanse of nothingness. Your soul can rely upon her completely. Cast your fears away. Hers is the power of the universe combined with the generosity of grace. So I do feel like this is a card of stepping out. So it says the oracle of the Kaladara marks the ending of a cycle after the full moon, which is what we've had. So we're now in a new moon, when things have gone as far as they can go, and the initiation of a fresh cycle following the black or new moon, when what has fallen away shall rise again in revised form. Our beloved Kali Kalahadra, cosmic lunar priestess, is Bhararavi, she who controls the changes taking place in the universe and our lives. We can trust her timing and our own process. Stay true to your inner work and know that your efforts shall bear fruit. So it's really about, this is like, it's just time to step out. It's time to walk forward now so you've obviously let go of what you needed to let go of in the Scorpio full moon. And Carly was really around me around that time. She said to me, like, this is my moon. This is when I'm in full flow. And she will always work with you when you're about to go through a massive transition in your life. She will enter, and this is something that she said to me. She said, I don't come to people at the beginning of their journey. I come to them when they're about to go through massive metamorphosis, she's saying. So this is for this group. Now, the number 4, let's just see what the other messages that might want to come through the card, because it's such a shame not to read the messages because they're so beautiful, and this book is so thick, full of wisdom. So Kali Mahamaya is Kali Ma, the spiritual truth beneath all appearances, the healing waiting to be discovered in all experiences. In harmony with your higher self, she manifests the path upon which you can best learn, heal and grow. She is unclothed, symbolizing wild, unconditioned authenticity. She is the empowerment to discard conditioning and judgments that we have worn. Cast off the fearful constraints others have imposed upon you. Connecting to your authentic being will attract healing guidance and divine grace to you now. Okay. I'm just seeing if there's anything else. So it says, take refuge in her and allow your life to unfold as it will, acting when you feel guided to, having patience in the unfolding events and trusting that her grace is unlimited. She's watching over the deep healing that is taking place within your soul. So yeah, I feel this is shadow work for this group, so that you will resonate with this. So it's interesting. She's shown me this is the divine masculine and this is the divine feminine. So she's saying that, like, obviously if you're divine feminine and you've done your shadow work, this won't rely, because we've all got divine masculine, divine feminine within us, all of us. Even if you are a divine feminine, like I'm a divine feminine, but I know when I saw this card, I'm pulled towards the Kaladara, because I know this anyway, this stuff I haven't been putting out that I need to put out. And actually, I've been through this period for quite a long time, and it's time to step out of it. And she's saying that, so, again, if there's mother wounds to be healed or there's feminine wounds to be healed, then this is you, and you're being guided to reflect. Now, the thing is, with the divine masculine, if you have, say, for instance, had a bit of a shield up and you are like, you've had to protect yourself from, whatever, you've always found it difficult to get your needs met, now is the time for you to speak up and to surround yourself and be around people that are supportive of you, regardless of your situation. So can you see there's two very different energies going on here, but they're complementary to each other as well, because obviously we want the feminine and the masculine to be in the dance of life together. But the thing is, if one is wounded, it will hold the other one back. So if we can't ask for what we need, so like say we want to get a book deal and we know that we're worthy, and it's not about being above your station, but you know what your work is worth, the blood, sweat and tears that you might have put into it, or you just know a deal or something you're being offered is not right. But in the past, you might not have had the confidence to say, well, actually, you know what, I've done my research, I know industry rates, or I know what feels right for me in this circumstance. Like, it's not about selling yourself short. It's also not having inflated sorry, I'll get my words out. Mercury retrograde, my words always get tongue-tied. Again, that could be the problem. I've found it hard to actually say. I've been tongue-tied and not been able to speak up for what I deserve, because it's part of my past history that I've needed to heal. I've needed to say to myself, I am enough, and I can manifest these things. And again, what Spirit is saying is that, what Carly is saying is, what you really are meant to receive into your life won't manifest if you have these wounds of saying, well, that, I'm not good enough, or this is not, again, this is nothing to do with getting stuff, guys. It's nothing to do with outward appearances. It's nothing to do with what you look like or what you have. It's how you are embodied in this lifetime. Okay, it's all about the energy. It's always about the energy. Now with this group, there's some pearls of wisdom for you to retrieve. So there's a bit of soul retrieval going on here. And actually what Spirit is saying is, so often on the spiritual path, people will always put off this reflective work because it's not physically accessible very easily. As in, it's not like just going to a healer and going, tell me this, when and where. This is work you have to do by yourself. So even if you're working with a shaman or a healer or a spiritual teacher, or like, you know, I work with my kinesiologist, I am the one that has to feel the stuff. I am the one that has to release it. She can't do it for me. I have to do it. I have to really, you know, allow the healing to come in, but I also have to allow it to integrate into my physical body, and that means making changes. But what Carly is saying is the rewards are great, but they come in the way that you don't expect. So those are the first messages that we've got for June. So what else have we got, Carly, that you want to... She's saying that she's done now. Right, okay. So now I'm going to work with the Rebecca Campbell cards, Work Your Light. And I'm also going to work with the Amy Zerner and Monty Faber Creativity Oracle. And I think I'm going to work with the Ina Segal Healing Yourself reading cards as well. So that's what we're going to use. Right. So, wonderful Spirit, gulp of water. What the message is for June collectively, or, you know, I don't even want to say that word collectively, but what are the messages for June, Spirit, for anybody listening? June 2022 energies. What are the messages for June, please? What are the messages for June? I just need to throw them out, that's it. Yeah. Again, another message of soul retrieval. Okay. And now we've got the Isis card has come through as well. So I'm going to go through these with you in a minute. So those are the Work Your Light. The Creativity Oracle. Messages for June, please. Right, thank you. 2, 3. Okay. And then the Ina Segal cards. Thank you so much. Messages for June. So let's just move all these up there. Let's get my lovely Irish crystal there in for some healing and clearing for whoever needs it. Messages for June, please, Spirit. Messages for June. Okay. So what they're saying is this is more... There's a lot of spiritually based messages. They're all energetic. The Ina Segal cards are really good for showing you what it looks like in the physical. Okay. I just keep getting the number 4 a lot. So when I think about the 4 of Wands or the 4 of Pentacles in the tarot, it's stable. It's building structures. It's building structures. It's solid foundations. The Have Faith card is at the bottom of the pack there as well. Right, okay, so start with the Rebecca Campbell cards. So the first set of cards that we've got are Protection, Call Back Your Power, Cut the Cords, and Soul Retrieval. So they're also saying if you've been doing a lot of healing modalities at the moment, so if you've been going for a lot of treatments, you need to let your energy integrate what you've learned and assimilated. So what can sometimes happen is that, you know, there are times where we get an immediate healing. It's not always common as what you think. You know, like you go for a massage or, you know, a deep tissue massage. Like your body needs to almost like let go. It can be quite painful, and then it like heals itself, and it can take a few days. It's a little bit like that So there's a message around that with protection, call back your power, cut the cords and soul retrieval. But also for some people, there's going to be, you've not been getting answers on moving forward on your path. And the reason is that they're just saying that there's more to come. There's more almost tidbits of information to come from spirit. But it's not going to come from outside of yourself, from another person. It's only going to come from within, a connection with your guides. Soul retrieval can also be when we've been scattered and our energy's still, remnants of it are still left in old situations that we haven't healed from. So Spirit's saying for some people, June is going to be a really good month for them to call back their energy back into their body. So lots of healing for some people. I feel this is more to do with the Kali group that resonate with this card, okay? So the Kali Mahamaya group. Because what it's saying is answer the call. So what is your soul calling you to do? So actually the next steps on your journey are going to be made really clear. But actually there's for some people, this is for a small group of people, that you need to call your soul back from past events. Again, I just feel like there's two camps, guys, with these cards. It's so interesting because answer the call, what is your soul calling you to do? Because what it's going to do is it's going to open up. It's almost like I've just got this really strong feeling. I keep seeing somebody trying to move forward and they want to heal and they want to move forward with their life, but they haven't made peace with their past. But also what Spirit is saying is that they haven't actually called back their soul fragments. So there's bits of them left on different timelines, which is so interesting because I don't ever really see this with a lot of people, but I think there's a strong message here that you want to go, you want to move forward intact. And like, look, it's not like your physical soul. I'm using that word. Maybe I should use a different word. It's just your energy. It feels like it's diluted for some people, because whenever you try to move forward, the memories of the past keep coming back to haunt you. And what Spirit is saying is you can just do a soul retrieval meditation where you call back in. I tell you who is really good for doing this. It's so interesting. Is Isis. She's really good for doing this, and she's actually come out in this card. So this is my Isis card. She's also come out as well. And you can actually do a soul retrieval. You can go into one of her crystal pyramid caves, and actually, what she's saying to me is the black obsidian and aventurine. I don't know why those are the two crystals I'm getting. Are great holding energies to work with, protective energies to call back all your power. And all it is it's a cord cutting exercise, but you can work in a really safe, sacred space, because I just feel like, when this is going on, because you always feel drained, because your energy it's not all back, it's not all present on this timeline now that you're in. It's not present. It's in lots of different places. So that's a specific message for a small amount of people. And actually what Spirit is saying is that this doesn't have to take long. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn out process. What you'll find is that you'll get a lot of clarity within a matter of weeks after you've done this. Right. So there's another group in June, which is the guidance is just to get grounded in nature, to go barefoot walking, to sit with trees, to connect with the energy of the power of flowers and essences, butterflies and bees, and to spend more time outside than indoors. I'm seeing somebody with children around this, and I don't know what this has got to do with yet, but let's just say that I just kept seeing somebody indoors too much with children. It's like, no, get out. Even if it's raining, just get out. And why have you said that? Who's this message for, Spirit? They're saying this is for somebody who keeps feeling very dizzy, slight vertigo, and obviously we can't give medical advice on readings. But I just feel like this is somebody who needs to root their root chakra into the ground. They're spinning off, and actually what Spirit is saying, this can happen to many of us when there's a lot of drama going on, or we're being pulled in different directions. All our energy gets pulled up into our head because we're constantly problem solving. And what they're saying is that it's really easy to become very reactive when all our energy isn't it's not moving all the way down to the bottom of our body. And I think June is going to be to get done what we want to get done. I think it's a very, very action orientated month this month for many, many people, but it's not going to be hit the ground running energy. It's going to be like bump, and then before you know it, like the second half of the month's going to be a lot more action orientated than the first, is what I'm hearing. And I feel that for this group, this Get Grounded card, if I can just show it to you with Trust Your Path, there's something new coming in that you're going to be doing. It's almost like a left field energy that you're being guided to take a calculated risk in a new and diverse and also kooky direction, is what I'm hearing, to carve out your path in your own way. And the key to this is what it says on the card: if you knew you would be supported, what would you do? So again, Gemini is very logic. It will be like, I'm not saying Geminis do this, but I'm just saying the Gemini energy, if we read it as it is, can be very logical. It's like saying, well, that doesn't make sense because it's not, how can I logically get that done? Well, actually, what Spirit is saying is that you take all of that off the table, and if you knew that the support was going to be there, you would do it, wouldn't you? That idea that you've got in your heart, that desire, that passion, we're not talking about things here like risky like financial schemes or things that put like your livelihood or your family home on the line, even though some people have done that and it's worked out well. They're not talking about this. These are like heart's desires. So these are things we've been wanting to do for a very long time in our lives, but we've put on hold because we've said, well, there's a pandemic, or, now the cost of living crisis is going on. What Spirit is saying is there's always going to be a reason why you can't do something. So what you do is you have to reorientate your inner compass to this. Can you see, like, she's sat in the forest and she's got Buddha there, and it's away from all the noise. And actually, if you look at this card, that this path it's a very unique path. It's not, again, when you do you can't be good at being someone else. You are meant to be the best at being you. That's what your job is, Spirit is saying. And that means a lot of the time that we can't emulate and we can't be like a famous person like Elon Musk, because he is the best dude at being Elon Musk. We have to focus, we have to reorientate ourselves back into our inner dial. Now, what's interesting is I feel this is the outcome for both these groups. So we've got transformation and birthing a new age, but again, we're on different pathways because the masculine has to heal certain aspects of self, and so does the feminine. And these are things along our way that we've told ourselves we can't do, but also the life model that we were born into doesn't necessarily facilitate the divine masculine and the divine feminine path. But the thing is, what you need to understand is that many of us have come down here to earth to teach and to actually embody this new divine feminine and divine masculine way of living on the spiritual path. And the key is that we have to learn it. We have to learn it and we have to embody it first within ourselves. Now again, what's the divine masculine and the divine feminine doing? Well, the divine feminine is the reflective side. It's the part that can go in and say, I am beautiful no matter what. No matter how many lines I've got on my face today because I slept wonky on my face. you know, and the divine masculine is actually, I will speak up. I will speak up for the good of all, because I know this is my spiritual truth. It's coming from my spiritual inner seeing, my inner compass. And like the combination of the divine masculine working together with the divine feminine, holding space for her to go in and say, well, actually, this doesn't feel right to me. This doesn't feel right to me. So I'm just going to sit. I'm just going to, still waters run deep. I'm going to trust my waters, and I'm not going to act. I'm just going to feel into it. And the divine masculine is holding space there going, yes, I can see this. That's your truth. I see you. I feel you. I know you. You know, they both deeply hold each other in different ways. Just like the feminine is able to, she's able to be there and to embody her energy without feeling threatened, without feeling subjugated or put down or heavily sexualized by the masculine. You know, she's not wearing anything there. She's absolutely naked and she's in the water. I don't know, there's just such a strong sense of authenticity in the masculine and the feminine in both these cards. I mean, the Kali cards they're not for the faint-hearted. I mean, they're really deep messages. But I really feel that whatever is going on for all of us in June, there's a really big shift around how we are viewing ourselves and how we are embodying our own divine masculine and divine feminine energies, and we are integrating them in a way that it's opening up our world in ways that we couldn't have never foreseen, because the transformation card is there, which is Isis. So she's saying, look, the work that you're doing is very internal. It's deep cellular healing. It doesn't always show on the outside until much later. But this is birthing a new age. It's dreaming a new world into being. And it's basically not trying so, for instance, myself as a woman growing up, I'm a very independent woman. My formative years was all about being financially secure and not relying on a man, because my mother's generation were relying on men. But then what happened was we go too far into our masculine because we think, and it's brilliant, it's what John Gray talks about. He says, well, you know, women now don't need a man for what they used to years ago. A woman had to behave and operate in a certain way because her survival depended on it. You know, our survival isn't dependent on a man, really, for a lot of women nowadays. That's how they view it. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong, guys. It's just, but, you know, so we switched. So as we evolve, we go sometimes a bit too far into the other side of that energy, and we have to find that balance. This is what we've come down here to do. We've come down here to embody the facets of divine masculinity and divine femininity in a way that we have to integrate it and consolidate it within ourselves first. And then what happens is our relationships, our external then reflects that inner change that we've made. So it could be that maybe you've been single for a long while, because your shift was necessary for you to do this alone. Some people have done it in relationships. Some people do their healing in relationship. Often the greatest healings happen when we've got another person to reflect back. But maybe you've been single for a long time and you've been like, you know, there's a reason why you haven't been in relationship with somebody, because literally you've been protected. You've been protected until the right person. And I'm not saying like the right as in they have to be perfect. What I mean is that your growth has accelerated. So everybody you've met hasn't matched your energy. They can't stay in your vibration, because if you're a divine feminine and you're embodying it, you then need to meet a divine masculine who can embody that to polarize with you, right? So this is going to be interesting to see what these creativity oracle cards say, right? So worry. So let's just open these up, right? So these are the things we're letting go of. Okay. Yeah, this is so cool. It does feel like there's two groups in this reading this month. So things to let go of: worry and procrastination. So worry is attachment to a particular outcome and the fear that it will not come to pass. And actually, I'm going to say, for some people, worry is actually an addiction. It's become a way that some people have learned to live, because I'm just going to say it, because it does require going in to do the inner work. You've got to look at, well, where is it that I learn that's a way for me to attach to live? Because the thing is, if we worry and we don't do anything about it, then we can, how do I say this, Spirit, in a way that it's going to make sense? Again, if we don't go in and take responsibility of why we are, what they're saying to me is there's a lot of people that are addicted to worry that don't even realise they've got an addiction to it, and they've actually got physically ill from it because they don't know what their life without worry would look like. And worry is basically, it's a misuse of one's energy to an outcome that can possibly never ever happen. Okay, and we've got procrastination. Stop focusing on your problems and excuses. Take a small step and do something constructive. So this is getting back to this card, which is trust your path. So if you knew you would be supported, what would you do? So like I always remember, like years ago when I trained with Drawing Virtue before she went fundamentalist, I always remember the workshop that we did in 2008 in Hawaii, and she said, like, imagine I'm your fairy godmother, and so you've got all the money in the world that you need to do this thing that you want to do. You go off and do it. And she said, you've got to act like that. So you've got to act as if you've got everything that you need to do it. And she said, what will happen is everything will just come to you. It's a bit like being a magnet. It's like saying, look, I'm ready. Even though you might not have the physical resources, what happens is, it's like the universe cops onto you going, oh, actually this one down here totally has got it going on. We'll just send her all the stuff that she needs. Yeah, I feel like these are cards to say it's now time to, you've got to move forward now. The most valuable facet you have on this earth is time. So when you get to a certain point in your life and you feel, again, these numbers might have relevance, 57 and 7, that you feel that you have got, time is running out, well then why waste time? Don't waste time, use your time. So this is what's going to help you. So evolve. Creative ideas evolve out of the invisible and profound nothingness of proverbial consciousness. So this is what they were saying about this, going into this zone, going into this quiet place. Like, these are, it's like songs get dropped down, creative ideas get dropped down from spirit consciousness, and it's whoever is willing to catch it. They say this about the Course in Miracles, that there was somebody that wrote the Course in Miracles and it was given to somebody else, but they didn't act on it, and then somebody else started writing it. I've actually found that I've been given ideas of spirit, and then I've gone on the internet, like, I've not acted on it. I've gone on the internet a few weeks later and I've seen somebody's done it. I thought, God, good on them. So again, they're like pockets of consciousness that get dropped down, and it's available to all of us. Sacred space. Use beautiful art, music and creativity of all kinds to put you into a sacred space. So what this is it's Spirit is saying, set yourself up for success. So the way that you evolve out of worry and procrastination is you create sacred space. So it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. You put on a track on YouTube, you put on some beautiful meditation music. You set your space up into a place where you feel receptive to receive, and maybe just sit there and have a quiet, get yourself a nice cup of tea, lay out, get yourself a lovely new journal book, or like I always have books where I put all my creative ideas in. Often I will get sometimes ideas at the speed of light so fast I can't write them down quick enough, so I'll often put all these ideas into a book, and like, Spirit will give you these ideas. You might even have a doodle book just to paint or draw, and that sparks off your creative channel through your hands. I just feel like this is a month to do stuff. It's a month to act on the energies. It's not the month to do this. It's going to just drain your energy. It's going to drain your energy. And all these, I feel like this is about looking back on what could have been. It's a waste of your precious energy, my darlings. That's what I want to say to you. This is what we do. We evolve and we create sacred space. We create a sacred container. What was I saying at the start of the message was that we need a place for these ideas to land, a book, a silence. We need to sometimes be, I'm not saying it's specific, it's not, guys, it's going to be different for everybody. It's all about going with the flow this month, like it is on every month. But what's available to you, if you are just willing to just try, is super, super powerful. So it could be for somebody saying, right, instead of just having every excuse on why you can't, like, so you've said, well, I want to work, and you've got kids and stuff, and it's really full on, but you want to follow your creative dream or drive or whatever it is, but you've got all these responsibilities. Is maybe it's time for you now to ask for some help, maybe to ask your partner or maybe a family member to say, or maybe their school friends, let them go on that play day, and your worries, and saying, look, you need that hour, and just take that hour for yourself. Even if you're practicing just having an hour to give back to yourself. So instead of like rushing to go off and create something, that you just sit there and you read a book, or you go for a walk in the park, and you retrieve that feeling. You pull back your energy, okay? The old you would have just been running around doing everything for everybody else. And maybe this energy is that you've got to just sit in the park and remember what it's like to just sit in your own company for an hour. Not when you're exhausted at the end of the evening, when you've done, trying to get everything done, but actually to incorporate that into your daily life. So it's like, it's on par and important with all the other responsibilities that you've got. Because remember, we can't wait till everybody gets to like 21 or 25 before I go off and do this and I go off and do this. I will share this with you, which is quite personal to me. My mum had loads of hopes and dreams, things that she wanted to do. And then I got my job working out in the Middle East, and she was planning to come over to see me. She was planning to get a job and travel. And my mum had never, ever been on like a plane for longer than an hour. She was like, that was just her generation. Anyway, cut a long story short, my mum passed away suddenly, and she never got to do it. So what I've always lived with a mantra and an attitude of, well, why can I not do it? Why? Well, then I must do it. So I've always had this drive, and actually, these things happen to sometimes teach us, and it's why I've gone travelling on my own. I've booked a flight. I was telling my friend the other day that I booked a trip somewhere where you wouldn't book somewhere without accommodation, but my 20s, I was wild. I just didn't think twice. I just go, yeah, I've just booked a flight. And somebody said, well, where are you going to stay? And then I'll find somewhere when I get there. And it was like these islands. And it was like there was actually nowhere to stay on the island when I landed. But within half an hour, I found somewhere to stay. And it was fine. Like, I used to do stuff like that, fly at the seat of my pants. Now, I know that's a very extreme example. But my point is, this is like, we can't always put everything on hold until all these external circumstances are perfect for us. What if that's never going to happen? So we create, we co-create, we prepare a container, a space. It doesn't have to be a sacred space. It can just be room, physical time, energy, room in our lives for us to allow it to even enter. This is what evolvement is asking us to do, right? Okay, right, so let's get on to the, this is so interesting actually, because, God, this just totally reiterates everything I've just said. I love it when cards do this, and I hadn't looked at these cards, I didn't know what they were. So this will make sense now. Hole in the soul, so this is like sadness, it's what's missing, it's like a lack energy. Pay attention to the signs. We've got entrapments. This is being held back. This is like, I mean, some of these cards are a bit like, oh, but I like them because they really do convey the message. So this is exactly what we're talking about, which is like feeling held by these external circumstances. And this is what the advice is, which is take off your mask. So stop living a life that you've outlived. Stop blaming. I'm not having a go at anybody when I'm saying this. I'm doing this for a reason, because this is what Spirit, they're asking me to say it in this way. Look at the ballet shoes hung up here. Sorry, the opposite on the camera there. I can never do it the right way around. Somebody's hung up their dancing shoes. Like, you're never too old to dance, guys. You're never too old to shake that booty, even when no one's looking. So it's like, take off the masks you've put on yourself, where you've hidden away, where you've hidden aspects of yourself, even to you, where you shied away for fear of being reprimanded or judged, or people like, who gives a what anybody thinks about you? Because have the courage. The light is there. Like, I mean, look at him. He's bloody gorgeous. And he's got a lantern and he's showing the way. And he's like, the courage card is there. It's time to speak up. It's time to take those risks. It's time to shake things up. It's time to evolve and move into something new. And then cycles, the old cycle of this is ending, And I know a lot of people will be saying to me, oh, but we've got a cost of living crisis and everything else. That still doesn't mean that you have to put your dreams on hold. If anything, it could even be driving you to make some changes. Right, is there anything else that you want to... Yeah, they're saying the Vision Quest card. So anything else about June that you want to share with us, Spirit? We're up to now just over an hour. Ace of Earth, so it's a new cycle, building new foundations in June. So this is for June. Any guidance on June, please? Thank you so much. We appreciate the guidance that you always bring through. Daughter of Water, so this is the divine feminine aspect. This is her trusting her internal intuitive waters. It's bringing inner peace. It's like, guys, we know what to do this month if we're just willing to listen. We know what we need to do. Stagnation and hurt. We need to let go of these two aspects of self, stagnation and hurt. I want to put that there with the worry and the procrastination. Stagnation and hurt. Okay. Yeah, it just... negative thinking, clearing that out. The Daughter of again, this again is to do with lack mentality for some people. There's not enough. Again, it puts somebody in that space of, well, there's always going to be some stuff happening out there. There always is. There's always going to be somebody saying, well, you can't do this because you don't have this and you don't have... I always remember when I moved to Ireland, and I remember my dad saying to me, at the time, he's like, well, why do you want to go there? And I didn't have a clue why. Well, I did have a clue. My intuition said go to move to Ireland, because I was sat on the beach one day and I thought, where do I want to live now? I mean, what a bloody privilege, a luxury in those days. When we think about the last few years now and what's going on in the world, I mean, what a bloody privilege to be able to sit there and go, where do I want to live in the world? I mean, no, people don't even get the option nowadays to even leave their own country, and they're probably desperate to leave for whatever reasons, because of war and trafficking and like extreme poverty. And I just thought, move to Ireland. That's where you've always wanted to live there. And straight away I was like, yeah, this is where I need to go. And it was a 5-second decision, and I moved to Ireland as the financial recession hit in 2010. And then when I got there, I had people say to me, oh, you won't get a job, and and it was all this yak, this. Let me just show you the card again. Just tie my hair back up. Hang on. 10 of N. I was met with all of this. it's almost like, well, because they wouldn't do it, well, then they project. It's all projections. It's all projections of why their life didn't work out and why they wouldn't take risks, and justifying why somebody wants to stay the same forever. No one can live like that. And I was like this. I was like the daughter of Aries. I just was looking at it thinking, oh my God, what's going on here? To be honest, I was in my 30s then. I didn't really think about it. All I knew was, God, you're really negative. But then I was like, right, okay, let's move on now. Within a month, I had a house. Within a month, I had a job. And yes, I didn't have a job I particularly enjoyed, but within another 2 months, I'd changed and I got a brilliant job, which was well paid, with lovely, lovely people. Lovely team of people I worked with for over 3.5 years. But again, I had to do this. I had to clear all of that stuff out. I was just like, that's not me. That's you. That's your beliefs. That's your stuff. I know I can manifest anything. I know I can put down my roots. And again, look, the nod to the four again, guys. The four of earth. So I was securing. I thought, God, Spirit have not guided me to live here, to have a shit life and to have no money and to not find anywhere to live. But if I listen to you, and again, it was very logic. It was like, well, if you live here, there's only like a shop, this and this. You've got to either work in one of them. And I was like, right, okay. But for some reason, my whole expansive feeling and thinking wasn't like that. It was like, well, I didn't even think about it, to be honest, guys. It was just a feeling I had. It was just a feeling to just go with why I was so strongly pulled and guided. The universe is benevolent. It's not cruel. But unfortunately, some people carry their past with them, and they carry their lack of willingness to take risks, and also to think outside the box, but also to trust life and to trust the magic of life, the power of prayer, of intention, and just being honest with oneself. Like, if you're not happy in something, you make tracks to leave. You bless where you're at and say, well, thank you for the lessons and the learning, but I don't think this is for me long term, and something better will come along. But you see, sometimes people don't want to do that because they don't want to take responsibility for their life. They don't want to take action. So what they'll do is they'll just blame everything on the economy, their life, what their dad said to them in 1983. And who wants to live like that? I certainly don't, and I'm definitely not promoting that for anybody here. Again, it's like, you teach what you walk the path of, but you also don't BS people, and you don't put them into magical thinking. Life can be difficult. See, look, this is the big medicine wheel. So this is saying, like, look, we've got the whole world in our hands. Okay, I love this card. The whole world in our hands, and the world needs our healing. And the way that we heal the world is that, like with these situations we're going through at the moment in the world, like with the cost of living crisis, we will work our way through it by helping each other. It's through our communities. It's through us all coming together with air, land and sea. So we're bringing together all our faculties. We're acknowledging who we are. We're also acknowledging our neighbours, our people around us that might need our help. We give what we don't use. We donate and we share what we have to give. And then there's enough for everybody to go around. Contemplation. So what's this about? This is for June. Yeah. So again, there's what Spirit is saying to me with this is a shift coming. So we've got big medicine wheel. I actually think that's the world card, Let me just check. Yes, it's the world card. So we've got the world card: creation, new paradigm, transmutation, global consciousness, individual awareness, altruism, openness, sharing. Exactly what I was saying. Recognizing and assuming your rightful place in life. Like, you deserve to have all of this, just like I do, Do unto others what you do to yourself. What you do to yourself, you do unto others. It goes hand in hand. It's the law of karma. we're on the wheel of life together. You know, what we put out for other people is what we embody within ourselves. So there is the world, there's a cycle, we are moving forward, and this period is asking us to go. The four again, the four of air is contemplative period, but it's only for a short period of time. So what have we learned around this full moon in Scorpio? What have we let go of in the middle of May in this Mercury retrograde cycle that we know is, you know, it could be these feelings of I don't know, like jealousy of other people, or looking outside of ourselves for things that we want, when we can redirect our energy from within and we can act on it. Because we've got the Ace of Fire here, which is the Ace of Wands, which is this creative action. It's finally figuring out where we want to go, where we want to orientate, and actually doing it, acting on it, not just saying it and verbalizing, but actually physically taking the steps that we know that we need to do. But there's a period here of where we've had to kind of assimilate these energies around this full moon. These, you know, we've had to cleanse the murky waters within our psyches, within our feelings, within our emotional bodies. And we've had to center ourselves and say, right, okay, I'm just going to let come in what wants to come in. And whatever resonates will resonate, and whatever will go will go. And what that does is it helps clear the path. It helps this path open up. And I mean, that's a really interesting path. I mean, there's one very big doorway, archway there, and the person is approaching it. But I mean, just look at the different types of terrain that they've been over. And whenever I see this kind of, I can never say it, I apologise, Amazonite. I know if I say it really fast, that I can get it right, which is actually with the Kali cards. And I love this. And this is the colour for me that really embodies this divine feminine energy, which is that the divine feminine hasn't really known where she's going. Like, she knows, like, when I say she, I mean just the divine feminine. It's an embodiment of energy. Like, we know, like, I know what the divine feminine is, but I feel like I've lived in a world where the world hasn't really been ready for her yet. But again, I don't know about you, but this last few months I've really started to see these divine masculine characters appear on the world stage as well. And I tell you what I saw last week is this really unusual type of man. Like, if you think about Harry Styles and Tom Holland, and who's the other guys? It's Timothy Chalamet. I can't remember his surname. You're probably shouting it at me anyway, but they're absolutely beautiful young men. And whenever I look at them, I think, you know, they're really authentic. Like, they're not threatened to dress differently or to be in touch with their feminine side. But I really pick up that their energy is very balanced. Like, they're this new type of young man, this younger generation that's really beautiful. So they've got the balance of the masculine and the feminine. They're very in touch with both sides. And Spirit was showing it to me, and I was thinking, yeah, I can see it. I can really feel it. And people just love them because there's something about their energy that's really magnetic. And I mean, the way that, I mean, Harry Styles is just lovely, but just like the way he dresses, and, you know, he really just pushed the boundaries on mixing the feminine and the masculine together, but it works so well. I don't know why they just wanted to bring that in. Right, one card for the road, Spirit, and then we're gonna close down for June. What an interesting dynamic month. It's very dynamic. Oppression. I can't leave an oppression card like that. Right, okay, right, I hear what you're saying. So what they're saying is, it's like they're showing me like the arrows into the ground. It's like putting the weapons, yeah. It's just putting the weapons down. You know, like the weapons that we have internally, like our words that we say to ourselves, but also to others. Now, again, in this reading, I'm not directing this at anybody. I just feel like there's a message of Spirit, they're wanting us to get on with it, but in a really loving way. So again, can you see the nod here to like the horns, the antlers? It's like, you know what your true north node is. Okay, the sun is there, the sun is setting, and it's like the arrows they're down in the ground. It's like, let go into dust what is no longer part of your now and your future. That this old is dead, it's died now. Call back your power, call back your energy, cut your cords to anything in the past, anything whatsoever, whether it's just these negative thinking, stagnation, these hurts, put them down. You need to let them go. There's this beautiful cycle now that's coming in, this Ace of Earth card. And we've got the Six of Fire, which is victory. It's ours for the taking, but will we take it? And this is a new type of energy now. This is like, whatever we have, we're victorious because we get to share it with those that we love. This is not the old 80s and 90s, the ego victories. This is to do with whatever we're all creating now on whatever platform or medium or delivery. What Spirit is saying is this is what it is that we're creating is really to benefit humanity. And it's time for us to share it now because it's going to help humanity evolve. So it could be that, I'm going to get writing my bits and pieces I need to do as well. There's a reason why they're giving you this message to just take off the mask now and really step into it. Have the courage. The cycle of the old past, the negative thinking, you're learning. There's always going to be something going on in the world. There's always going to be a reason why not to do something. And it's time to reorientate that mode of thinking and approach and put that to bed and to get with the program, which is that you need a new cleansed sacred space, a container to work in a completely different new way, guys. All right. Interestingly enough, there wasn't that much around relationships, but there we go. It obviously wasn't meant to be a reading for June around that. So please like my video. I'm going to ask kindly because it will help me build my community, which is what I really want to do this year. Not because I want to be famous. I'm really not one of those people, but because I want to help people. And the more people we help, the more that they can help people. And it has a chain reaction. So just have a wonderful, wonderful June. And I just hope you have the best month. And if you are a Gemini, a massive happy birthday to you. All my love, and I will see you soon for another video. Take good care. Bye-bye.